do it. Boom, 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 boom. We're back. I'm Dave Donaldson. Welcome back to Grip Tips. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 100D and the 200D from the Aputure Amaran series of lights. Now, Amaran is a division of Aputure that makes the cheaper lights. Everything that you've seen on this channel so far that's had Aputure with it, those were designed to be on a set. These lights in general were not meant for being on a set. They were meant for content creators, kind of like what I'm doing right now. These lights actually don't come with a nice case or anything. Essentially, the box is the case, and I'm not going to unbox both of them in front of you, as both of the lights are pretty much laid out the exact same way inside of the box. But opening up the box, you can see that we get our normal Aputure goodies, such as stickers and a manual. We get an S-Bones reflector, much the same as the Aputure 300 series lights. We also get an IEC cable. We see it. We see it. We also get this AC adapter to XLR that our IEC cable will plug into for power, and then we have the head of the light itself. Yes, it's totally a plastic feel, but I wouldn't say it's too cheap of a build. But definitely not the aluminum/metal housing that we all know and love. It also doesn't have a ratcheting tie-down knob. It's in a fixed position. Also on the yoke itself, it has a place to hold an umbrella if that's your thing. Photographers. But the IEC cable plugs into the AC adapter, which is then plugged into the wall, and then the XLR is plugged into the light. There's a simple rocker switch to turn it on, and boosh, we have light. Pretty bare bones and simple to use. As you can see, I have an intensity knob that will dial in 1% increments. I can also press and click the knob to skip in 20% increments. And lastly, we have a Bluetooth reset button, which if we hold down for about all of 1 second, it will reset the Bluetooth, as this light also has the option of working with the Citus Link app. Now, while the display is really nice and simple and clean, I will say it feels like there's some sort of privacy glass that's going on, because it's almost like you have to look at it at a particular angle, but nothing really to stress over. So within Citus, you can tap your scene name and then tap the green plus sign in the top right. Citus will find all of our lights and we can hit them individually, or we can select all and then hit setup on the bottom. Citus will then load these lights into your scene, and now you have complete control of the lights on your phone or tablet. You'll have the ability to turn the lights on or off, set the intensity by percentage, or by quarter, half, and full, and there's also dimming curves within the app. You can also use the usual suspects of effects: fireworks, paparazzi, explosion, strobe, pulsing, TV, lightning, and faulty bulb. I also took some readings at roughly 5 to 6 feet away, or 2 meters. The 200D gave me a reading of 26,700 lux with a color coming in at 5400K, and then for the 100D, 15,370 lux and a color of 5490. So they're both within 200 degrees of being that 5600K that they're advertising with this light. Since both the 100 and 200 versions are the exact same S-Bowen style, just like all other Aputure products, you can totally use all the accessories they sell, including an umbrella. That being the barn doors if you were looking to gel this light or control it, the 2x Fresnel to control spot and flood. Yes, even the spotlight attachment can be used to make different patterns, shapes, or just control. And I think this goes without saying, but any of their softbox attachments, including their newest and cheapest version of a Light Dome 2, the Light Dome SE. Now, the Light Dome SE is a lot cheaper than their other softboxes, but with a drawback. It goes together in the traditional softbox way, and with all the years that I've done it this way, I can tell you safely, this was the hardest one I've ever had to put together. Then again, I rarely ever have to put together a brand new softbox or a brand new light dome like this, especially when it's got 16 friggin' rods. But maybe with some wear and tear, it'll loosen up a little bit and be a little bit easier. But it does come with a couple pieces of diffusion and an egg crate, and the Light Dome SE is just a little smaller than the Light Dome 2, so they're practically almost the same thing. However, it is cheaper than the other accessories that they sell. It's kind of meant to be set up once and forgotten about. Okay, so I know that I sound a hell of a lot more different than a second ago, but that's because an hour before I released this episode, I also realized I forgot to mention that you also have the option of buying either of these lights with either the standard reflector or the hyper reflector. The difference being that the hyper reflector will give you a little bit more of a hot spot in the middle of the light, and the standard reflector will give you a much more even light across your subject. So when shopping for either of these lights, keep that in mind as well as to which reflector you want to own. Now, there is another drawback with using the 200D, and a lot of YouTubers have expressed their opinion about this to Aputure, which is the 200D kind of has a loud fan. I'm going to be honest. I think that unless you're pointing a microphone directly at that light, I don't really think this is too much of a big thing. A matter of fact, this light that I have above my head right now is a 200D, and I'm just gonna be quiet for a second. I know that I'm using a lavalier in this sense, and maybe a shotgun mic would be different, but I don't know, it's probably like 2 feet away, so I'm just gonna be quiet for a second and tell me if you can hear it. Yeah, see, I'm looking at my audio. It doesn't even look like it's picking it up. However, if that is a big problem to you for whatever reason, they did come out with a firmware update, and it's very, very simple. All you have to do is go within Citus app, go to your light, hit the little meatballs on the side, and hit the firmware update. As you can see, there's a little red dot there. Just follow the steps from there. After the firmware update uploads into the light, now it will do something of more of a consistent fan speed as opposed to what it's doing right now, which is if it gets too hot, the fan will kick up. But if it's in a temperature where it's getting a little cold, the fan will shut off. But now it'll be a consistent fan noise as opposed to something that's kind of varying up and down, which is from what I understand, and I'm not really that good at sound or anything, but from what I understand, the room tone that you can get, because this fan will now be at a constant, you can go and take like a noise print or something like that inside of Adobe Audition, and you can cancel out that noise. That's the bigger part of the firmware update. I will say though, I don't really know how big of a problem this is. I'm not a smart man, but I know what noise is. So what is my overall opinion about this light? Because I know there's a lot of gaffers out there that are probably like, why would you show this light of all lights on your channel? You'd be right to ask that. And Aputure even said to me before they sent the light, they're like, we're not even really sure if you'd want to show this on your channel, because we made it with the intent of content creators that are on YouTube all the time, which is great for me right now. I understand what they were saying. And I said, send it, just send it. I'll take a look at it. And the thing is that on all the reality shows that I can like go back through and think of in which I've seen a light that is not a Hollywood blockbuster quality, build quality, I've seen it on reality shows everywhere. I mean, there's like a young Guno. I don't even know the name of the brand. I can't remember it because I barely ever used it. But I remember that there was this wand that was used on a particular show. I think it was Food Paradise. They used that wand, and that thing was a piece, okay? It was complete plastic, but the DP used it to their advantage. There's other reality shows that I've worked on where there's been like this little tiny small on camera light that has been used by many of us. We all know what that looks like. It's been this big plastic piece that really doesn't belong on anything where you're consistently traveling, and it's definitely going to get broken. Somebody's going to bring this on a reality show. It's bound to happen. Like the quality is plastic, yes, but I'm thinking about all the different reality shows that I've worked on where like as soon as the DP showed up, I thought I'd be working with some lights that had some really good build quality, can take a beating a little bit, and then they give me some sort of plastic thing, and my first thought is just like, I will cut a bitch. Look, let's also talk about something else that I know that a lot of electrics and a lot of rental houses have concerns about. I know that there's a ton of rental houses out there that don't even like the Aputure brand. They think to themselves, there's no way that any DP or any electrician is going to rent that. Here's the problem. The Lightstorm series, pretty much everything that is coated black, aluminum finish, that was meant to be on real sets. That was meant to take a beating. This Amaran series light, I know that this is the light that you're thinking about when you think of Aputure and you're like, I don't want Aputure products. This plastic gray light is the light you're thinking of. But their Lightstorm series are the ones that belong on your truck. A lot of gaffers out there, I know or rather not just gaffers, but also there's rental houses that will not carry Aputure products, and it's because they think it's going to be this cheap piece of crap that they're going to have to keep replacing over and over and over again. The Amaran series, that is the series that you're thinking about when you're like, it's not gonna last. The Lightstorm series that Aputure has, that is the one that you should be carrying in your rental house. That is the one that you should be carrying on your truck, especially considering that a lot of the color rendition that you're getting out of these lights are amazing. Not to mention you have complete app control. I think you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So when you're thinking Aputure, if you are the type of person who's just doing content creation and you just need like the best light quality, and you want like good color quality, but you're a baller on a budget, and you're not going to be moving around with them all the time, get the Amaran series. It's totally fine. If you're a gaffer, owner, operator, whatever, get the Lightstorm series because it does belong in a truck, and it also belongs at rental houses. But sadly, that is all that I have for you guys today. If you like today's episode, please let me know in the comment section below. You could also follow me on Twitter, and we'll see you on the next one.